And good morning once again on day 3 of our journey to Israel. Thank you for joining us. Our 2019 Golden State Baptist College trip to Israel. I come to you from the Sea of Galilee. And this is the place where Jesus would establish his ministry for three and a half years here in the north. A very strategic place for the sake of the ministry of Christ, because it was prophesied that he would establish his ministry there. We come to Isaiah chapter 8 and chapter 9. It was a bleak, dark time that was prophesied by the prophet Isaiah. In chapter 8, he says that there would be a people who should not seek unto their God. They wouldn't seek to the law, to the testimony, to the Word of God. It would be a time of silence, a period where the Word of God was not given. And it uses the words like hungry, and they would fret themselves and curse their king and curse their God. They shall look unto the earth and behold trouble and darkness, dimness and anguish, and they shall be driven to darkness. That's the time that Jesus came to. A very difficult time, but we come to Isaiah 9 and we have the prophecy that unto us a child is born. And there's hope in this time of darkness. To us a son is given. The government shall be upon his shoulder. Right there, Isaiah has prophecy of the first coming as a babe and the second coming as a king. The government shall be upon his shoulder. His name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. As we get to that verse, there are 5 verses from verses 1 through 5 before we get to Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. And it says, the dimness shall not be such as was in their vexation. What he's saying is that it's not always going to be dark. It's not always going to be a time of anguish. And he says that Jesus would come, the light would come to Galilee of the nations. That's speaking of you and I, the Gentiles. The people that walked in darkness shall see a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shined. Now we come to the New Testament and the fulfillment of this prophecy in Matthew chapter 4. Jesus has been baptized. In Matthew 4, he has gone through the period of temptation. And now he goes to Nazareth. He's rejected. And then he comes to, it says, Galilee. Verse 13, Matthew chapter 4. And leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, Capharnaum, the village of comfort, the village of Nahum, comfort. And he establishes his ministry there, which is upon the sea coast. And it says, in the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet. The land of Zebulun, the land of Naphtali, by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, here it is, Galilee of the Gentiles. It says, the people which sat in darkness saw great light. That's our forefathers. And to them which sat in the region of the shadow of death, light is sprung up. Our forefathers, the Gentile people, the sons of Japheth, they knew that we were not the chosen, but we knew who was. We always followed nearby, behind them, knowing that the light, Isaiah 49, would come through the Jewish people. And we established ourselves here in Galilee of the nations. Very strategic place for the gospel coming to the Jew and to the Gentile. Jewish on the western side, Capernaum, Tiberias, that region, Magdala, which is where Mary of Magdala, we call her Mary Magdalene. So on the eastern side, you have the Gentiles, on the western side, the Jews. And right here, Galilee of the nations, where the nations converge, and the light came to this place. And he would establish his ministry here before going to be the sacrifice for all people in Jerusalem. I want to thank you once again for joining us, and thank you for your friendship and your support of Golden State Baptist College, and thank you for joining us on this trip, 2019 Golden State Baptist College trip to Israel. God bless you.